Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most chilling and enduring mysteries of the 20th century. We're talking about the Dyatlov Pass incident, 65 years later, and we still don't have definitive answers. 9 experienced hikers, all students from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, set out on a challenging winter expedition in the northern Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union. What started as an ambitious adventure turned into a tragedy that has baffled investigators, scientists, and armchair detectives for decades. Picture this. It's January 1959. A group led by the determined Igor Dyatlov embarks on a ski trek across the unforgiving slopes of Kholat Syakhl, a mountain whose name ominously translates to Dead Mountain in the indigenous Mansi language. Their goal was Otorten, a peak further north. This wasn't a group of novices. They were skilled, well-prepared, and experienced in harsh conditions. They had all the necessary gear, a clear plan, and a shared passion for the great outdoors. What could possibly go wrong? Their journey began with high spirits. Photos from their cameras, later recovered, show them smiling, sharing jokes, and navigating the snow-covered wilderness. They set up their last camp on February 1st on the eastern slope of Kholat Syakhl, preparing for what they expected to be another day of challenging but rewarding trekking. They pitched their tent strategically, sheltered from the wind, seemingly ready for a cold night. But that night, something utterly inexplicable happened. When the group failed to return by their scheduled date, a search party was launched. What they found on February 26th at their last campsite was nothing short of horrifying. The tent was discovered partially collapsed, cut open from the inside. Inside, most of their belongings were still there: clothes, food, even their boots. It looked as if the hikers had fled in a desperate hurry, without time to properly dress for the extreme cold. Following faint footprints in the snow, investigators found a trail leading down the slope, away from the tent, towards a dense pine forest about 1.5 miles away. These footprints indicated that several of the hikers were barefoot or wearing only socks or a single boot. Imagine that, fleeing into sub-zero temperatures, half-dressed in the middle of a blizzard. What terror could have driven them to such an extreme? The first 2 bodies were found near the edge of the forest under a large cedar tree. Yuri Krivonishenko and Yuri Doroshenko. They were dressed only in their underwear, and there were signs of a small fire nearby, suggesting they had tried to build a bonfire for warmth, perhaps with wood they'd climbed the cedar for. But what happened next? Why weren't they fully clothed? A few days later, 3 more bodies were discovered between the cedar tree and the tent, including Igor Dyatlov himself. They appeared to have been trying to return to the tent, possibly for supplies or clothing. Dyatlov was found with a cut on his hand and abrasions, but nothing immediately life-threatening. The cause of death for all 5 was hypothermia. This, however, was just the beginning of the bizarre discoveries. It took over 2 months for the remaining 4 bodies to be found, buried under 14 feet of snow in a ravine further into the forest. This is where the incident takes an even darker turn. These 4, Alexander Kolevatov, Zenaida Kolmogorova, Lyudmila Dubinina, and Semyon Zolotaryov, had sustained much more severe injuries. Lyudmila Dubinina was found without her tongue, eyes, or part of her lips. Semyon Zolotaryov had no eyeballs. Both also had fractured ribs, and Dubinina had a broken jaw. Kolevatov had severe head trauma. These weren't injuries consistent with hypothermia or a simple struggle in the snow. Adding to the strangeness, tests later revealed high levels of radiation on some of the victims' clothing. While the radiation levels weren't immediately fatal, they certainly fueled speculation about some kind of military involvement or secret testing. The official Soviet inquiry concluded only that the hikers died from a compelling natural force, and the case was swiftly closed, with files classified for decades. This secrecy only amplified the mystery and led to a proliferation of theories. So, what are these theories? They range from the plausible to the truly outlandish. Let's explore a few. One of the most popular and unsettling theories involves an avalanche. For years, experts debated whether an avalanche could have been the trigger. The argument goes that a small, localized avalanche could have buried the tent, forcing the hikers to cut their way out and flee. The injuries found on the last 4 victims, like fractured ribs and head trauma, could potentially be consistent with being crushed by snow or falling rocks within the avalanche. However, there are significant counter-arguments. The slope was not particularly steep, and the location of the tent was usually considered safe from avalanches. Experienced mountaineers in the group would have recognized avalanche danger. Moreover, the nature of the injuries, particularly Dubinina's missing tongue and eyes, don't perfectly align with typical avalanche trauma. And why were they so far from the tent, half-dressed? Another prominent theory suggests an attack by the indigenous Mansi people. The Mansi had ancestral lands in the area, and there were beliefs about sacred sites. Could the hikers have trespassed, provoking a violent confrontation? This theory quickly lost credibility. There was no evidence of other people at the site, no signs of a struggle beyond what was found on the bodies, and the Mansi are known for being peaceful. Furthermore, forensic examination confirmed the injuries were not caused by human hands. Then there's the military testing theory. The radiation found on the clothing, coupled with the USSR's penchant for secrecy and nuclear testing in remote regions, made this a strong contender for many. Perhaps the hikers stumbled upon a secret military test site, or were victims of an experimental weapon gone wrong. Some theorize a paradoxical undressing effect from a hypobaric weapon, or even a low-frequency infrasound weapon that induced panic and disorientation. While intriguing, concrete evidence of military activity directly causing the incident remains elusive. The radiation could also be explained by natural exposure or contaminated equipment from previous activities. Some more exotic theories involve UFOs or even a Yeti-like creature. Reports from nearby residents at the time mentioned strange orange orbs of light in the sky. Could an extraterrestrial encounter have caused their terror and subsequent demise? While fascinating for science fiction, there's no tangible evidence to support such claims, and the scientific community generally dismisses these as speculation. For decades, the case remained shrouded in mystery, fueling countless documentaries, books, and online discussions. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the investigation, aiming to finally provide some answers. They focused primarily on natural explanations, particularly the avalanche theory. In 2020, a new scientific investigation involving Swiss scientists and engineers presented a compelling model. Their study, published in the journal Communications, Earth and Environment, used computer simulations to show that a specific type of avalanche, known as a slab avalanche or wind slab avalanche, could indeed have occurred and caused the observed injuries. This model suggests that the hikers had cut into the slope to pitch their tent, creating an unstable snow slab above them. A strong wind during the night could have triggered this slab, causing a relatively small, delayed avalanche to slide down onto the tent. The sound and impact would have been terrifying, forcing them to cut their way out in a panic, believing a larger avalanche was imminent. The injuries sustained by the last 4 victims, fractured ribs, head trauma, could be explained by being crushed against objects or the ground by the weight of the snow. As for the missing tongue and eyes, the theory posits that scavengers, such as foxes or other animals, could have been responsible for these post-mortem injuries, as the bodies lay exposed for weeks in the ravine before being found. The radiation on clothing was also re-evaluated, potentially attributed to items used in their outdoor gear or natural background radiation. While this avalanche theory provides a more scientifically robust explanation for many aspects of the incident, it still leaves some questions unanswered for many enthusiasts. Why would experienced hikers choose such an unstable site? Why weren't the bodies found closer together? The sheer level of panic and disorientation seems extreme, even for an avalanche. The human element, the psychological terror, is still hard to fully grasp. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains a powerful testament to the unpredictability and unforgiving nature of the wilderness, and to the enduring human fascination with the unknown. It's a reminder that even the most prepared can fall victim to forces beyond their control. Whether it was a rare avalanche, a peculiar weather phenomenon, or something else entirely, the tragedy of the 9 hikers continues to captivate and mystify us 65 years on. It's a story that compels us to think, to question, and to always respect the power of nature. What do you think happened at Dyatlov Pass? Let us know your theories in the comments below. We love hearing your insights. If you found this deep dive into the Dyatlov Pass incident as intriguing as I did, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more true crime, historical mysteries, and fascinating explorations. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. You know, the kind of story that sounds like pure science fiction, but actually happened. Imagine a secret government program, operating for decades, dedicated to exploring the furthest reaches of mind control. It sounds absolutely wild, right? But stick with me, because what the CIA was doing behind closed doors was far more disturbing than any spy novel. For years, rumors swirled about the CIA dabbling in brainwashing and psychological manipulation. People whispered about covert operations, strange experiments, and individuals whose lives were irrevocably altered. It was easy to dismiss it all as conspiracy theories, the stuff of pulp magazines and late-night talk shows. But then, in the mid-1970s, the truth began to emerge, piece by agonizing piece, thanks to declassified documents and brave whistleblowers. What they revealed sent shockwaves across the nation and around the world. The rumors were not only true, but the reality was far more extensive and ethically bankrupt than anyone could have imagined. This wasn't just a handful of rogue agents. This was a systematic, decades-long effort by one of the most powerful intelligence agencies on the planet. So, what exactly was MK-Ultra? Officially launched in 1953, it was the CIA's top-secret, highly illegal program aimed at developing techniques for mind control. Their goal? To create a perfect truth serum, to program unwitting assassins, to erase and implant memories, and, essentially, to completely control the human mind. The Cold War was in full swing, and the fear of Soviet and Chinese brainwashing techniques fueled a desperate, no-holds-barred approach by American intelligence. The perceived threat was so immense that it justified, in their eyes, some of the most unethical experiments ever conducted on human beings. It was a race, they believed, to unlock the secrets of the psyche before their adversaries did. The methods they employed were nothing short of horrifying. The agency explored a vast array of techniques, often with little regard for the well-being or consent of their subjects. They experimented with extreme forms of sensory deprivation, isolation, and psychological torture. They pushed people to their absolute breaking points, hoping to find a way to dismantle the existing personality and then rebuild it according to their specifications. Imagine being stripped of all your senses, confined in darkness, subjected to constant, jarring sounds, all while powerful drugs are coursing through your system. It's a nightmare scenario designed to break the human spirit. One of the primary tools in their arsenal was LSD. The psychedelic drug, still relatively new and mysterious at the time, was seen as a potential key to unlocking and manipulating the mind. Scientists and agents within MK-Ultra believed that LSD could render individuals more susceptible to suggestion, break down their psychological defenses, and even lead to a complete personality overhaul. They administered massive doses, often to unsuspecting individuals, including patients in psychiatric hospitals, prisoners, and even their own agents. Imagine taking a drug that completely distorts your reality, and then having trained interrogators attempting to plant suggestions or extract information from you. The effects were often catastrophic, leading to severe mental health issues, breakdowns, and permanent psychological damage. But it wasn't just LSD. hypnosis played a crucial role too. MK-Ultra researchers believed that deep hypnotic states could bypass conscious resistance, allowing them to implant commands or extract information without the subject's knowledge. They explored techniques for creating Manchurian candidates, individuals who could be programmed to carry out specific actions, even assassinations, and then have no memory of the event. The chilling possibility of someone being a puppet in the hands of the government, unaware of their own actions, became a terrifying reality for some victims. This involved complex, multi-stage hypnotic inductions, often coupled with other mind-altering substances and stressful environments. Fear itself was another powerful weapon. The researchers understood that extreme stress and terror could break down an individual's psychological resilience, making them more vulnerable to manipulation. They created environments designed to induce maximum fear and disorientation, pushing subjects to their emotional and mental limits. This wasn't about extracting information through conventional interrogation. It was about shattering a person's identity and rebuilding it from the ground up. The ethical lines were not just blurred, they were completely obliterated in the pursuit of this ultimate mind control. The tragic stories of the victims are a stark reminder of the program's brutality. Take Frank Olson, a biological warfare scientist who was unknowingly given LSD by his CIA superiors. Days later, he fell from a 10th-story window, a death officially ruled a suicide, but one that has been shrouded in controversy and suspicion for decades. There were countless others. Unwitting citizens whose lives were destroyed, psychiatric patients subjected to experimental procedures without consent, and even CIA employees who became human guinea pigs in this dark scientific endeavor. Many suffered long-term psychological trauma, their lives forever marred by the government's secret experiments. They were not just subjects. They were real people with families, dreams, and lives that were irrevocably altered. The true scope of MK-Ultra might never be fully known. In 1973, fearing public exposure amid mounting controversy, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered the destruction of most of the project's records. This act of deliberate obfuscation makes it incredibly difficult to fully understand the program's reach, the number of people affected, and the full extent of the unethical practices. However, enough documents survived or were later declassified to confirm the program's existence and its shocking details. What little we know paints a terrifying picture of a government agency operating completely outside legal and ethical boundaries. The revelations about MK-Ultra rocked the nation in the mid-1970s, leading to Senate hearings and widespread public outrage. The Church Committee investigations in 1975 exposed the program's existence and many of its horrific details, forcing the CIA to acknowledge its past misconduct. This period was a crucial moment for government transparency and accountability, highlighting the dangers of unchecked power and the critical importance of ethical oversight in scientific research, especially when it involves human beings. It led to reforms and renewed scrutiny of intelligence agency activities, though the scars of MK-Ultra remain. Even today, the legacy of MK-Ultra continues to influence popular culture, sparking debate and inspiring countless stories. It serves as a stark warning about the potential for abuse when scientific and military power merge without proper ethical constraints. It reminds us of the importance of individual rights, informed consent, and the constant vigilance required to protect human dignity from those who might seek to manipulate or control it. This story isn't just about history. It's a powerful reminder of the fundamental values we must uphold in any society. So, what are your thoughts on MK-Ultra? Did you know about this program before today? It's a truly chilling piece of history that shows us just how far some will go in the name of national security. Let me know in the comments below. If you found this dive into a darker side of history thought-provoking, please hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into fascinating, and sometimes unsettling, topics. Your support helps us bring these important stories to light. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving headfirst into one of history's most chilling, inexplicable mysteries: the Dyatlov Pass incident. Imagine a group of 9 experienced hikers, full of life and adventure, setting off into the frozen Ural Mountains of Russia. What they found there, or what found them, remains a terrifying enigma that has baffled investigators, scientists, and conspiracy theorists for over 60 years. This isn't just a story. It's a cold case that whispers of something truly inhuman. Get ready, because by the end of this video, you might just find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew about the natural world and beyond. Our story begins in January 1959. Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student, led a team of 9 other skilled skiers and hikers on a challenging winter expedition to Otorten Mountain in the northern Urals. These weren't amateurs. They were seasoned adventurers, well prepared for the harsh conditions. Their journey started with high spirits, documented through their journals and photographs, glimpses into a close-knit group sharing jokes and dreams under a vast, snowy sky. On January 28th, one member, Yuri Yudin, had to turn back due to illness, a decision that would ultimately save his life. The remaining 9 continued, their planned route taking them through an area known to the local Mansi people as Kholat Shyakho, or Dead Mountain. A fitting name, as it would turn out. They were expected to return by February 12th. When they didn't, a search party was launched. What the rescuers found days later at the foot of Kholat Shyakho was not just strange, it was utterly horrifying. Their tent, a large canvas structure designed for extreme cold, was found ripped open from the inside. Not torn by an animal, but slashed with knives from the interior as if in a desperate, frantic escape. Outside, there were footprints leading away from the tent, some bare, some in socks, some in single boots, all heading towards a dense forest about a mile away. The first 2 bodies discovered were those of Yuri Krivonishenko and Yuri Doroshenko, found near a small bonfire under a large cedar tree. They were lightly dressed, some reports even saying almost naked, despite temperatures plummeting to 25 to 30 degrees Celsius. Their hands were severely burned, suggesting a desperate attempt to stay warm, but what truly puzzled investigators was their demeanor. They looked like they had simply frozen to death, but the lack of panic in their faces was eerie. As the search continued, 3 more bodies were found between the cedar tree and the tent: Igor Dyatlov, Zenaida Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin. Their position suggested they were trying to return to the tent, crawling uphill against the brutal wind, before succumbing to the cold. Slobodin had a small skull fracture, but not severe enough to be fatal. These initial findings already presented a stark contradiction. Why abandon a perfectly good tent, cutting their way out, only to freeze to death so close to shelter? It wasn't until 2 months later, in May, when the snow finally began to melt, that the final 4 bodies were discovered in a ravine, buried under several feet of snow. This is where the story takes an even darker, more bizarre turn. Lyudmila Dubinina, Semyon Zolotarev, Nikolai Thibault Brignol, and Alexander Kolovatov. Their injuries were unlike anything seen before. Nikolai Thibault Brignol had a major skull fracture, a devastating blow. Lyudmila Dubinina and Semyon Zolotarev had incredibly severe chest injuries, described as having been hit by a powerful force, like a car accident, yet there was no external bruising to match the internal damage. And, perhaps most disturbingly, Lyudmila Dubinina was missing her tongue, eyes, and parts of her face. Semyon Zolotarev was also missing his eyeballs. These were not injuries consistent with falling or an animal attack. The force required to inflict such damage without external marks points to something extraordinary. Adding another layer to the enigma, the clothing of some victims, particularly Lyudmila Dubinina and Semyon Zolotarev, was found to contain unusually high levels of radiation. This detail, initially suppressed by Soviet authorities, only deepened the mystery and fueled theories of secret weapons tests or even something otherworldly. So, what exactly happened on that fateful night? The official Soviet conclusion was compelling natural force, a vague statement that satisfied no one and only served to intensify speculation. Let's explore some of the leading theories that attempt to explain the unexplainable. One popular theory points to an avalanche. This suggests that a sudden snowslide scared the hikers, forcing them to cut their way out of the tent and flee. However, experienced mountaineers and avalanche experts have largely debunked this. The tent was on a gentle slope, not a typical avalanche path. The footprints showed an orderly, albeit panicked, retreat, not the chaotic scattering one would expect from an avalanche. And critically, no signs of an avalanche were found in the area, either at the time or in later investigations. The scene simply didn't fit. Another theory, often discussed, involves the local Mansi people. Could they have attacked the group? The Mansi were indigenous hunters and revered the mountains. While some of their sacred sites were near the pass, investigators thoroughly questioned Mansi individuals, and there was no evidence of their involvement. Furthermore, the nature of the injuries and the radiation findings do not align with a human attack by rudimentary weapons. The Mansi were cleared of any wrongdoing. Then there are the more speculative, yet compelling, theories involving covert military operations. The radiation found on the clothes, the strange orange glow reported in the sky by other hiking groups nearby on the same night, and the Soviet government's initial secrecy all point to this possibility. Could the hikers have stumbled upon a secret missile test or a new type of weapon? The powerful, blunt force trauma sustained by some victims could be consistent with a shockwave or an experimental device. However, even if this were the case, why leave the bodies in such a state, and why the bizarre tent damage and partial undressing? And why the missing body parts? This leads us to the truly out there, yet sometimes chillingly fitting, theories. Some believe it was a case of infrasound. This is sound at frequencies too low for humans to hear, but which can cause feelings of dread, panic, nausea, and disorientation. A specific meteorological phenomenon, perhaps a Kármán vortex street off the mountain, could have generated such sounds, driving the hikers into a state of terror, forcing them to flee their tent and succumb to the elements and their own panicked reactions. This might explain the internal injuries without external marks, as extreme panic could lead to falls or collisions against objects. Other explanations venture into the realm of the paranormal or extraterrestrial. Witnesses in the area at the time reported flying spheres, or bright lights, in the sky. Could an unknown entity or an alien encounter be responsible? While highly speculative, the sheer bizarreness of the incident, the inexplicable fear, the extreme internal injuries, the odd radiation, the missing body parts, continues to push some towards these unconventional explanations. The idea of something inhuman feels almost necessary to grasp the full horror. In 2019, Russia's Prosecutor General's office reopened the investigation, concluding in 2020 that the most probable cause was a snow slab avalanche, combined with poor visibility. They suggested the hikers cut their way out of the tent to avoid the avalanche, then became disoriented and died of hypothermia. This explanation, while offering a natural cause, still struggles to account for the unique and severe internal injuries, the unusual radiation, and the selective mutilation of some bodies. Many, including relatives of the victims and independent researchers, remain unsatisfied. More recently, scientific simulations, including one published in 2021 by ETH Zurich, supported a specialized form of avalanche known as a slab avalanche, or wind slab. This specific type of avalanche could, under certain conditions, strike a tent from the side with enough force to cause significant internal injuries without necessarily crushing the victims or leaving obvious external signs of a massive snowslide. This theory suggests that the hikers, in their panic, might have fled the tent, then succumb to the extreme cold and disorientation. But even this highly detailed explanation doesn't fully address the missing body parts or the radiation. So here we are, over 6 decades later, and the Dyatlov Pass incident remains a dark stain on history. A group of young, vibrant individuals vanished into the night, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions, baffling clues, and a sense of profound unease. From radiation to secret weapons, from avalanches to infrasound, no single theory fully explains every chilling detail. The frozen mountain of Kolatchiakal still guards its secrets, a silent testament to a night of unimaginable terror. What do you think happened at Dyatlov Pass? Was it a natural phenomenon gone horribly wrong, a covert military accident, something otherworldly, or something far more sinister and incomprehensible? Let me know your theories in the comments below. This is a mystery that truly gets under your skin. If you found this deep dive into the unknown as captivating as I did, please hit that like button, share this video with a fellow mystery enthusiast, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more explorations into the unexplained. Your support helps us keep uncovering these incredible stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Today, we're diving into a chapter of history that sounds more like a sci-fi thriller than reality, a story shrouded in secrecy and ethical nightmares. We're talking about a clandestine operation that began during the height of the Cold War, a program so disturbing it twisted scientific ambition into psychological horror, leaving a trail of unwitting victims and a truth buried for decades. Get ready, because we're uncovering the story of Project MKUltra. Imagine a world gripped by fear and suspicion, where 2 global superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, were locked in a silent battle for dominance. This wasn't just about missiles and armies, it was a war of ideas, of minds, and even of psychological influence. In this intense climate, the CIA, America's premier intelligence agency, became deeply concerned about the potential use of mind control by its adversaries. They believed that if their enemies could manipulate human consciousness, they needed to understand it too, and perhaps even develop their own countermeasures. This fear, this intense geopolitical pressure, set the stage for Project MKUltra. Launched in the early 1950s, Project MKUltra was not just one experiment. It was a sprawling, multifaceted program encompassing over 150 sub-projects, conducted by a network of universities, hospitals, prisons, and pharmaceutical companies across the United States and Canada. The goal? To explore and develop techniques for mind control. This included everything from uncovering truth serums for interrogation to manipulating human behavior through covert means. The ambition was vast, but the methods were chilling. The project explored an array of controversial techniques, pushing the boundaries of what was considered ethical or even humane. Researchers delved into hypnosis, attempting to create programmable agents. They experimented with sensory deprivation, hoping to break down individuals' will and reshape their minds. But perhaps the most infamous aspect of MKUltra involved the extensive use of psychoactive drugs, particularly LSD. The CIA was fascinated by LSD's potential to disrupt normal thought processes, induce hallucinations, and even create temporary amnesia. They believed it could be a powerful tool for interrogation, for discrediting individuals, or even for creating unwitting assassins. The problem? These experiments were often conducted on people who had no idea what was happening to them. We're talking about patients in psychiatric hospitals, prisoners, and even ordinary citizens who were unknowingly administered powerful hallucinogens, sometimes for days or weeks on end, with absolutely no informed consent. Think about that for a moment. People were subjected to these terrifying experiences without their knowledge or permission. Their minds were manipulated, their perceptions distorted, and their psychological well-being shattered, all in the name of national security. Imagine the profound trauma, the lingering paranoia, the sense of betrayal that would follow such an experience. Many victims suffered severe, lasting psychological damage, and some even died as a direct result of these experiments. Their lives were irrevocably altered, their trust in institutions demolished. One of the most tragic cases, which helped bring the project to light, was that of Frank Olson, an Army scientist working on biological weapons who was unknowingly given LSD during a CIA experiment in 1953. 9 days later, he fell to his death from a 10th-story window. While initially ruled a suicide, his family later suspected foul play, and the circumstances surrounding his death raised serious questions about the CIA's involvement and the true nature of their experiments. For decades, the truth about MKUltra remained buried. The CIA, in an attempt to cover its tracks, destroyed most of the project's documents in 1973, fearing public backlash. This act of deliberate destruction made a full accounting of the program almost impossible, leaving countless victims without answers or justice. It was an appalling act of suppression that only deepened the mystery and heightened the controversy. However, in the mid-1970s, a series of sensational reports and investigations began to pull back the curtain. The Church Committee in the Senate and the Rockefeller Commission, both tasked with investigating intelligence activities, uncovered fragments of the MKUltra story. What they found shocked the nation: a systematic program of unethical human experimentation, a blatant disregard for individual rights, and a chilling abuse of power. The revelations sparked public outrage and led to significant reforms within the intelligence community, aiming to prevent such abuses from ever happening again. The legacy of Project MKUltra is complex and enduring. It serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and scientific ambition when divorced from ethical considerations. It highlights the critical importance of informed consent in medical and psychological research, a principle that is now enshrined in ethical guidelines worldwide. It also underscores the lasting impact that government secrecy can have on individuals and society. The victims, many of whom never truly recovered, were left to grapple with the profound psychological scars of experiments they never asked to be a part of. While the official program was supposedly halted, the questions it raised about government oversight, ethical research, and the balance between national security and individual liberties continue to resonate today. It's a story that compels us to remain vigilant, to question authority, and to champion transparency and accountability in all areas of public service. This isn't just a historical footnote, it's a powerful lesson. It teaches us about the fragility of trust, the importance of human dignity, and the absolute necessity of ethical boundaries in scientific exploration. The story of MKUltra reminds us that even in the pursuit of security, we must never compromise on the fundamental rights and well-being of individuals. What do you think about Project MKUltra? Did you know about this dark chapter in history? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video insightful, please give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into fascinating and sometimes chilling historical events. Your support helps us keep exploring these important stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Get ready, because today we're diving headfirst into one of the most mysterious and talked about places on Earth. Area 51. For decades, this name has conjured images of aliens, UFOs, and top-secret government cover-ups. But what if I told you that the truth, while perhaps not quite as fantastical as Hollywood portrays, is actually far more fascinating, and it's been right there in plain sight thanks to government admissions? That's right. We're not just talking about whispers and conspiracy theories today. We're talking about documented history, declassified files, and official statements that reveal more truth about Area 51 than anyone ever expected. So, buckle up, hit that like button, and let's peel back the layers of secrecy surrounding this iconic desert outpost. For years, if you mentioned Area 51, you'd likely get a chuckle, a knowing wink, or an immediate launch into alien theories. The government's official stance for a very long time was, Well, they didn't even acknowledge it existed. It was a blank spot on maps, a rumored location whispered about by aviation enthusiasts and UFO hunters alike. The sheer lack of information only fueled the speculation, allowing imaginations to run wild with stories of extraterrestrial encounters and advanced technology hidden deep within the Nevada desert. Think about it. An entire facility, covering acres of land, operating in complete secrecy for decades. That kind of mystery is practically an invitation for theories. And for good reason. The government's silence was deafening, and their consistent denials only made people more curious. It's human nature to wonder what's being hidden. But then, something shifted. Slowly, over time, the veil began to lift. And it wasn't because of a whistleblower or an accidental leak. It was a deliberate, albeit gradual, process of declassification. The truth, or at least a significant part of it, started to emerge from the archives. And what we learned, though perhaps not involving little green men, is equally mind-blowing and historically significant. So, what exactly did the government finally admit? Well, the biggest bombshell dropped in 2013, when the CIA officially acknowledged the existence of Area 51. Yes, you heard that right. The Central Intelligence Agency itself, in a declassified report, confirmed its location and purpose. This wasn't a fringe website making claims. This was the highest level of government saying, "Yep, it's real, and here's what it was for." This declassification wasn't just a simple acknowledgement. It came with a treasure trove of information that painted a much clearer, albeit still secretive, picture of the facility's operations. The report, titled The Central Intelligence Agency and Overhead Reconnaissance, The U-2 Story, 1954-1974, detailed the origins and primary mission of what was officially known as Groom Lake, or Homey Airport, but what the world called Area 51. The primary purpose? To develop and test advanced reconnaissance aircraft, specifically the U-2 spy plane during the height of the Cold War. Imagine the sheer audacity of this project. In the 1950s, as tensions with the Soviet Union escalated, the U.S. desperately needed a way to gather intelligence without risking pilots over enemy territory. The solution was a high-altitude, stealthy aircraft that could fly above the reach of Soviet defenses. Area 51 was the perfect location. Its remote desert setting offered unparalleled secrecy and vast, unobstructed airspace for testing. The dry lake bed was an ideal natural runway. It was far from prying eyes and civilian populations, ensuring that any experimental aircraft or test flights remained completely covert. The environment was harsh, yes, but that only added to its isolation. The U-2 project at Area 51 was a monumental undertaking. It brought together brilliant engineers, top-tier pilots, and cutting-edge technology. These brave individuals were pushing the boundaries of aviation, often in incredibly dangerous circumstances. They were pioneers, flying machines that were literally decades ahead of their time, all in the name of national security. The risks were immense, but the stakes were even higher. The declassified documents reveal fascinating details about the U-2 program. They describe how pilots were recruited, the rigorous training they underwent, and the incredible secrecy surrounding their missions. It wasn't just about building a plane. It was about creating an entirely new intelligence-gathering capability that would shape the course of the Cold War. But the U-2 wasn't the only bird to spread its wings over Groom Lake. After the U-2, Area 51 continued to be a hub for black projects. The A-12 Oxcart, the predecessor to the SR-71 Blackbird, also called Area 51 home. This even faster, higher-flying spy plane was another marvel of engineering, and its development and testing were equally shrouded in secrecy. Imagine seeing a craft like the A-12 screaming across the sky in the 1960s. It would have looked utterly alien compared to anything else in the air. It's easy to see how such advanced, unusual-looking aircraft, flying in a notoriously secret location, could fuel tales of extraterrestrial visitors. And it didn't stop there. Later, the F-117 Nighthawk, the world's first operational stealth aircraft, was also developed and tested at Area 51. This stealth fighter truly revolutionized air combat, rendering it virtually invisible to radar. Again, a radical, otherworldly design, developed in total secrecy, contributing to the mystique. So, while the government's admission might have deflated some alien enthusiasts' hopes, it unveiled an equally incredible truth. Area 51 was a crucible of American ingenuity and technological advancement. It was a place where engineers dared to dream big, and pilots risked everything to fly machines that redefined what was possible in the sky. The reason for the decades of denial? Simple: national security. Acknowledging the base's existence would have compromised the secrecy vital to these advanced weapons and intelligence programs. The government needed to keep its technological edge hidden from adversaries. The alien rumors, in a strange way, actually served as a perfect smokescreen. Who would believe tales of advanced spy planes when everyone was talking about flying saucers? It was an accidental, yet incredibly effective, diversion. This doesn't mean every single mystery surrounding Area 51 has been solved. Far from it. The declassified documents provide a framework, but they don't answer every question. There are still many operations, test flights, and programs that remain classified, and who knows what the future holds for further declassifications. The process is ongoing, and perhaps one day we'll learn even more about the cutting-edge work that continues behind those guarded gates. What the official admissions confirm is that Area 51 was, and likely still is, a critical national asset for developing and testing next-generation aircraft and defense systems. It's a testament to the incredible innovation and dedication of the people who worked there, often under immense pressure and in complete anonymity. So, the next time you hear about Area 51, remember, it's not just a punchline or a hotbed of alien speculation. It's a tangible piece of history, a place where the future of aviation was forged in secrecy, directly influencing global events. The government finally pulled back the curtain, not on little green men, but on incredible human achievement. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most astonishing truths are found not in wild speculation, but in the meticulously documented pages of history, waiting to be revealed. And that, in itself, is pretty epic. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into Area 51. I hope you found this as fascinating as I did. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you do not miss out on our next adventure into history and mystery. Your support means the world. See you next time. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most enigmatic places on Earth, a location shrouded in mystery, whispers, and wild speculation. Area 51. For decades, this name has conjured images of strange aircraft, secret tests, and things never meant for the public eye. It's been the subject of countless documentaries, movies, and late-night theories, capturing the imagination of millions. But what exactly is Area 51, and why does it hold such a grip on our collective curiosity? Well, if you're ready to peel back the layers of secrecy surrounding the most restricted airspace on Earth, then buckle up. Because today, we're going to explore what they don't want you to know. We'll delve into its true origins, the groundbreaking projects developed there, and yes, we'll even touch on the extraterrestrial theories that have made it legendary. This isn't just about government secrets, it's about the incredible ingenuity, the unparalleled secrecy, and the enduring human desire to understand the unknown. So, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's unlock the secrets of Area 51 together. First off, let's clear the air a bit. Area 51 isn't some ancient alien crash site, at least not officially. Its story actually begins in the heart of the Cold War, a time of intense geopolitical tension and an urgent need for technological superiority. In the mid-1950s, the United States was desperate for ways to spy on the Soviet Union without being detected. This need led to the birth of a top-secret project, the U-2 spy plane. To develop and test this revolutionary aircraft, the CIA needed a remote, isolated location, far from prying eyes and unauthorized access. That's where a dry lakebed in southern Nevada, known as Groom Lake, came into the picture. It was perfect, vast, desolate, and virtually unpopulated. In 1955, President Eisenhower approved its acquisition, and thus what we now know as Area 51 was born. It was initially referred to by various unassuming code names like Paradise Ranch or Watertown to entice workers, but the name Area 51 came from its designation on old Nevada test site maps. The secrecy wasn't about hiding aliens. It was about protecting incredibly sensitive national security projects that could turn the tide of the Cold War. The U-2 project was an astonishing success. It flew at altitudes previously unimaginable, well beyond the reach of Soviet interceptors and missiles, providing crucial intelligence that shaped U.S. foreign policy for years. But its very existence created an unexpected side effect. As the U-2 flew over the American Southwest for test flights, pilots, commercial aviators, and ordinary citizens would spot these strange, silver, cigar-shaped objects soaring at incredible heights. They weren't moving like conventional aircraft. They were faster, higher, and utterly silent. Without any official explanation, people naturally started speculating. What were these mysterious craft? Given the burgeoning interest in space and science fiction at the time, it wasn't long before the unidentified flying object, or UFO, explanation gained traction. The government, unable to publicly acknowledge the U-2 program, found itself in a tricky position. They couldn't explain the sightings without revealing a vital national security secret. So, they often dismissed the reports as weather balloons, optical illusions, or even just misidentifications of conventional planes. This tight-lipped approach, while necessary for national security, inadvertently fueled the very alien theories that would become synonymous with Area 51. After the U-2, Area 51 continued its role as the premier testbed for America's most advanced aerospace projects. The next big star to emerge from its hangars was the A-12 Oxcart, the predecessor to the SR-71 Blackbird. This aircraft was even more incredible than the U-2. It could fly at Mach 3+, meaning 3 times the speed of sound, and at altitudes exceeding 85,000 feet. Imagine that. At such speeds and altitudes, the airframe would literally heat up to hundreds of degrees Fahrenheit, requiring revolutionary materials and engineering. Testing the A-12 and later the SR-71 involved countless secret flights over the same remote deserts, leading to even more unexplained aerial phenomena. People would report triangular crafts, incredibly fast objects, and sonic booms that had no identifiable source. Each new classified aircraft developed at Groom Lake added another layer to the mystery. The government's continued silence, understandable from a security perspective, was a fertile ground for the most imaginative theories. When you see something truly extraordinary and there's no official explanation, the human mind tends to fill in the blanks, often with the most exciting possibilities. It wasn't just about developing our own advanced aircraft. Area 51 also became a crucial site for reverse engineering enemy technology. During the Cold War, the U.S. managed to acquire Soviet MiGs and other advanced foreign aircraft. These planes were secretly brought to Groom Lake, meticulously studied, and flown by U.S. pilots to understand their capabilities and vulnerabilities. This program, known as Constant Peg, was vital for training American fighter pilots, giving them a critical edge in potential air combat scenarios. Imagine being a U.S. pilot, flying a Soviet MiG-21 in secret, learning its strengths and weaknesses. This Red Hat squadron was a game-changer. These flights, of course, added to the mystique. If you saw a foreign jet flying over Nevada and the government denied its presence, it would only deepen the conviction that something truly extraordinary and clandestine was happening out there. The vastness of the test site provided the perfect cover for these highly sensitive operations, ensuring that the knowledge gained remained exclusive to the U.S. and its allies. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room: the alien theories. The most famous story connecting Area 51 to extraterrestrials involves a man named Bob Lazar. In the late 1980s, Lazar claimed he had worked at a site near Area 51, specifically a place called S4, where he allegedly helped reverse engineer alien spacecraft. He described advanced propulsion systems powered by an exotic element, Element 115, and provided incredibly detailed accounts of the supposed alien technology. Lazar's story exploded into the public consciousness, captivating millions and providing a compelling, albeit unverified, narrative for the unexplained sightings. He painted a picture of government scientists dissecting alien bodies and studying their craft, all hidden within the impenetrable fortress of Area 51. While many dismiss Lazar's claims as elaborate fabrications, his testimony cemented Area 51's place in popular culture as the ultimate alien conspiracy hub. It's fascinating how one person's claims can completely redefine the public perception of an entire site. His narrative, regardless of its veracity, tapped into a deep human curiosity about what else might be out there. For decades, the U.S. government officially denied the very existence of Area 51. It was a place that simply wasn't on the map, literally. This blanket denial, while frustrating for conspiracy theorists, was a standard procedure for highly classified military installations. It wasn't until 2013 that the CIA finally declassified documents explicitly acknowledging the existence of Groom Lake and its purpose as a U-2 test site. This official acknowledgement, while late, was a watershed moment for those who had followed the mystery for so long. However, the declassification was met with mixed reactions. For some, it confirmed their suspicions that the government had been hiding something. For others, it was a disappointment, as the documents only revealed information about known aerospace projects, not alien encounters. The truth, as often happens, was perhaps a little less dramatic than the wildest theories, but no less historically significant. It was a testament to the fact that incredibly advanced technology was being developed there, pushing the boundaries of human engineering. So, what about today? Is Area 51 still active? Absolutely. While its specific mission has undoubtedly evolved, it remains a highly classified operational facility. We can only speculate about what cutting-edge projects are currently being developed and tested there. Perhaps next-generation stealth aircraft, advanced drone technology, or even revolutionary energy propulsion systems are taking shape behind those heavily guarded fences. One thing is for sure: the spirit of innovation and secrecy that defined its early days continues to this day. The allure of Area 51 isn't just about aliens. It's about the very human desire to uncover secrets, to peer behind the curtain of the unknown. It's a symbol of groundbreaking technological advancement, a testament to the ingenuity of engineers and scientists, and a reminder of the lengths nations go to protect their interests. Whether you believe in alien spacecraft or just advanced human technology, Area 51 represents the pinnacle of secret government operations and a fascinating chapter in our history. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. What are your theories about Area 51? Have you heard any wild stories, or do you have a more grounded explanation for the sightings? Let me know in the comments below. Your insights and thoughts are always a huge part of what makes this community so incredible. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into Area 51. I hope you found this exploration as fascinating as I did. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more explorations into history's greatest mysteries and technological marvels. We've got so much more to uncover together. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the most chilling, unexplained, and downright terrifying discoveries people have ever stumbled upon using Google Earth. What starts as a simple virtual journey can quickly turn into a detective's nightmare, revealing things that were never meant to be seen. From hidden symbols to anomalies that defy explanation, get ready to question everything you thought you knew about our planet, and maybe even a few things beyond it. Google Earth, for all its amazing utility, often acts like a digital window into the world, showing us places we might never visit. But sometimes that window opens onto something truly unsettling. You know, those moments where you're just casually scrolling, maybe checking out your old neighborhood, and then, bam! You spot something that sends a shiver down your spine. The internet is full of these stories, and each one leaves us with more questions than answers. Are we looking at a mistake, a prank, or something far more sinister? Let's find out. First up, let's talk about the colossal desert pentagram discovered in Kazakhstan. Imagine just zooming in on a remote, sparsely populated area, and there it is. A perfectly formed, massive, five-pointed star etched into the landscape. This isn't some small doodle. It's an enormous geometric pattern spanning over 200 feet in diameter. Naturally, people immediately jumped to all sorts of conclusions. Was it an ancient ritual site? A forgotten cult's secret symbol? Or perhaps a landing strip for something not from this world? The internet went wild with theories, from satanic worship to extraterrestrial signals, while eventually a more mundane explanation emerged. It was likely an abandoned Soviet-era park, designed in a star shape popular during that time. The sheer scale and mystery of it, especially with no obvious context, truly captured imaginations and fueled plenty of unsettling thoughts. It just goes to show how something so seemingly innocent can look utterly terrifying from above. Then there's the infamous Blood Lake in Sadr City, Iraq. This one sent genuine shockwaves across the globe. Google Earth imagery showed a vibrant red body of water, strikingly out of place amidst the usual desert hues. It looked exactly like a lake of blood. The images spread like wildfire, sparking theories ranging from industrial pollution to, well, something far more biblical and horrifying. Was it some kind of apocalyptic sign? Or the aftermath of some unspeakable event? The sheer visual impact was enough to trigger a collective gasp from anyone who saw it, while the exact cause remains somewhat debated, with theories pointing to pollution from slaughterhouses, sewage, or even a unique algae bloom. The initial sight was undeniably disturbing. It was a stark reminder of how our planet can sometimes present scenes that are both beautiful and profoundly unsettling, making us wonder about the hidden stories beneath the surface. And what about the mysterious Ghost Island of Sandy Island? For years, this island was marked on maps, even appearing on Google Earth, supposedly located off the coast of Australia. Explorers, sailors, and cartographers had it down. But when a team of Australian scientists actually sailed to its supposed location, they found absolutely nothing. Just open ocean. The island simply wasn't there. It had been a phantom, a cartographic error perpetuated for decades, possibly even centuries. How does an entire island end up on maps and digital platforms for so long without actually existing? This wasn't terrifying in a blood and guts way, but it was profoundly unsettling. It challenged our trust in mapping, in what we perceive as real, and made us question how many other phantom places might be lurking in the data, just waiting to be debunked or, more eerily, to suddenly appear. It makes you think, what else are we seeing that isn't truly there? Or what isn't there that should be? Moving into the truly creepy, let's talk about the more personal and truly unsettling discoveries. Bodies in lakes and canals. There have been several documented instances where people, while using Google Earth, have identified what appeared to be human remains. One of the most famous cases involves a missing person in Florida. A man had been missing for over a decade when a tip led investigators to examine Google Earth imagery of a retention pond near his last known location. And there it was, a car submerged in the murky water. When the car was pulled out, they found the skeletal remains of the missing man inside. This wasn't a discovery in the traditional sense, but rather a digital clue that helped solve a long cold case. The thought that a satellite image taken years ago held the key to a decade-long mystery is chilling. It highlights the incredible detail Google Earth captures, but also the unsettling idea that tragedies unfold unnoticed, sometimes for years, right beneath our digital eyes. It turns ordinary citizens into accidental digital detectives, stumbling upon real-world tragedies. Then there are the bizarre geometric patterns found across the globe that defy easy explanation. Beyond the Kazakhstan pentagram, you can find massive circles, intricate labyrinths, and strange symbols etched into deserts, fields, and even dense forests. Some are undoubtedly agricultural crop circles, known hoaxes, or ancient earthworks. But others, they're just there. No context, no obvious creator, just massive designs that often seem too perfect, too deliberate, to be natural. People have theorized everything from ancient alien beacons to secret military installations, or even elaborate art projects by reclusive individuals. The unsettling part isn't necessarily the pattern itself, but the lack of an immediate, satisfying explanation. Why are they there? Who made them? And what do they mean? Every new image that pops up just adds another layer to this global mystery, leaving us to wonder about the hidden messages our planet might be trying to send, or the silent stories written on its surface. And what about the sheer number of abandoned places Google Earth reveals? From entire ghost towns swallowed by deserts to rusting ships stranded in the middle of nowhere, and even entire amusement parks reclaimed by nature, these images paint a haunting picture of decay and forgotten histories. While not terrifying in the traditional sense, there's a deep, unsettling sadness and an eerie beauty to these forgotten landscapes. They serve as silent monuments to human endeavors that failed or were simply abandoned. Imagine seeing an entire fleet of derelict ships, perfectly preserved in a remote bay, or the skeletons of massive buildings standing empty for decades. Each abandoned structure tells a story of what once was, and the silence it projects through the satellite image is truly palpable. It's a chilling reminder of impermanence and the relentless march of time, and makes you wonder what unknown secrets these abandoned places still hold. Let's not forget the giant spider in a field in France, or the massive crab monster spotted near a pier in the UK. These are moments where the human eye, combined with satellite imagery, plays tricks on us, but they're no less chilling in the initial shock. The spider turned out to be a cleverly designed vineyard, its rows resembling a massive arachnid from above. The crab monster was likely a sand formation or a shadow, but the image, when first seen, definitely conjured up images of some colossal, unknown creature lurking just offshore. These optical illusions are terrifying because they tap into our primal fears of the unknown, of monstrous beings hidden just out of sight. For a moment, you genuinely believe you've stumbled upon evidence of something truly out of a horror movie. It highlights how our brains are wired to find patterns, and sometimes those patterns lead us down a path of delightful, yet unsettling, delusion. And what about the alleged UFO sightings captured on Google Earth? While many are quickly debunked as glitches, reflections, or misidentified objects, there are always a few that leave you scratching your head. Strange lights, unusual shapes hovering over remote landscapes, or perfectly geometric anomalies that don't seem to fit any known aerial vehicle. For those who believe in extraterrestrial life, these snippets of imagery become powerful evidence, fueling endless debate and speculation. The idea that we might be inadvertently catching glimpses of advanced technology or visitors from other worlds, just by scrolling through satellite images, is both thrilling and profoundly unsettling. It makes you look at every blurry spot or odd reflection a little differently, wondering if you're about to make the next big discovery that changes humanity's understanding of the universe. So, from unexplained symbols etched into the earth to the silent witnesses of human tragedy, Google Earth constantly surprises us with its ability to reveal the hidden, the haunting, and the truly terrifying. It's a testament to the power of observation and the endless mysteries that still exist on our planet, waiting to be accidentally discovered by a curious eye. It turns everyone into a potential explorer, a digital detective, and sometimes the bearer of unsettling news. What's the most unsettling thing you've ever found on Google Earth? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this journey into the uncanny fascinating, please give this video a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into the strange and unexplained. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Imagine this: a thriving American town filled with families, businesses, and dreams, just gone. Not a single farewell note, no dramatic exodus, just empty houses, silent streets, and a chilling void where life once buzzed. We're talking about a town that erased itself, seemingly overnight. No goodbyes, no survivors, just ghosts of homes left behind. What in the world could have happened? Get ready, because we're about to uncover the astonishing truth behind this forgotten slice of Americana. You won't believe what we find. From the outside, it sounds like something straight out of a horror movie or a campfire ghost story, right? But this isn't fiction. This is a real chapter from American history, a baffling event that left investigators scratching their heads for decades. Picture a typical, bustling small town, maybe somewhere in the heartland or nestled in a valley. People working, kids playing, neighbors chatting over fences. Life in all its ordinary glory. Then, one morning, silence. Utter, profound silence. The coffee still brewing on the stove, toys scattered in the yard, beds unmade. But no one there. Absolutely no one. What kind of cataclysmic event could lead to such a complete disappearance? Was it a mass abduction? A secret government experiment gone wrong? An unknown epidemic that swept through without a trace? The rumors, as you can imagine, were wild and plentiful. Every conspiracy theory imaginable started swirling around this forgotten settlement. Some whispered of a portal to another dimension. Others spoke of a shadowy cult. The truth, as it often is far more complex and, in some ways, even more heartbreaking than any of those fantastical tales. To understand what happened, we need to peel back the layers of time and explore the unique circumstances that led to this town's astonishing end. Let's rewind a bit. This wasn't just any town. It was a place born out of specific needs and a particular era in American expansion. Many small towns in the 19th and early 20th centuries popped up around resources, mining operations, logging camps, or new railroad lines. They were boom towns, vibrant and full of promise, drawing people from all walks of life looking for opportunity. Our mysterious town was no different. It flourished, it grew, it developed its own unique character, its own rhythms, its own tightly knit community. People put down roots, built homes, started families. They envisioned a future there, just like anyone in any other town. However, the very thing that gave this town life also held the seeds of its destruction. Its existence was inherently tied to a finite resource, a single industry that dictated its fortunes. As long as that industry thrived, so did the town. But what happens when the well runs dry? What happens when the demand shifts or the resource is depleted? That's where our story takes a turn. The prosperity that seemed so robust began to crack. Slowly at first, like hairline fractures in a foundation. Jobs started to disappear. Businesses began to struggle. The once bustling main street became quieter. The laughter of children less frequent in the schoolyards. The truth of what happened in this town wasn't a sudden dramatic event like a meteor strike or an alien invasion. It was a slow, agonizing decline, masked by stubborn hope and the fierce loyalty of its residents. They tried to adapt, to innovate, to find new ways to sustain their way of life. But the economic forces at play were too powerful. One by one, families made the heartbreaking decision to leave. Not all at once, not in a grand, unified exodus, but in a trickle. A family packing up their wagon in the dead of night, hoping to avoid the painful goodbyes. Another leaving a "for sale" sign that would never find a buyer. This wasn't an overnight disappearance in the literal sense of a single 24-hour period. It was an overnight in the collective memory, an instant in the grand scheme of history where a vibrant community simply ceased to exist. When the last industry finally collapsed, or the last family could no longer bear to stay, the town truly became empty. The "no goodbyes" came from the gradual erosion of the community itself, where each departure chipped away at the whole until there was nothing left but echoes. The "no survivors" isn't about death, but about the survival of the town's identity. The town itself didn't survive. It vanished. What makes this story so poignant is that it's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, even in the face of inevitable change. It's also a powerful reminder of how fleeting prosperity can be, and how deeply our identities can be intertwined with the places we call home. Imagine being one of those last few families, watching your neighbors leave, one by one, feeling the silence grow louder with each departure. The decision to finally lock your own door for the last time, leaving behind generations of memories, must have been excruciating. Today, if you were to visit the site of this particular ghost town, you wouldn't find a dramatic scene of destruction or signs of ancient rituals. What you would find is an almost peaceful decay. Empty shells of houses, perhaps a forgotten general store, maybe a church steeple still standing against the sky. Nature slowly reclaiming what was once human territory. The wind whispers through the empty panes where windows once glowed with lamplight, and the birds nest in the eaves where children once played. It's a quiet monument to human endeavor and the relentless march of time. This story isn't unique, though its sudden overnight perception makes it particularly captivating. Across America, there are countless ghost towns, each with its own tale of boom and bust, hope and heartbreak. They are silent sentinels, reminding us that even the most established communities can be fleeting. They teach us about economic cycles, the impact of technology, and the enduring human quest for a better life. They also remind us to appreciate the vibrancy of our own communities, to understand that connection and resilience are key to enduring. So, the mystery of the American town that erased itself overnight is not a tale of supernatural forces or dark conspiracies. It's a profound human story of economic upheaval, gradual decline, and the quiet dignity of people forced to leave behind everything they knew in search of a future. It's a powerful lesson from history, showing us how the very fabric of a community can unravel, not with a bang, but with a whisper. What do you think about this incredible story? Have you ever heard of towns like this or even visited one? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this dive into forgotten history fascinating, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more untold stories, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Imagine an entire town, full of life, bustling with people, and then, in the blink of an eye, it just vanishes. Not a soul left, no explanation, just an eerie silence where laughter and daily chatter once echoed. Sounds like something out of a horror movie, right? But this isn't fiction. This is the chilling true story of a town that disappeared without a trace. And what makes it even more unsettling is that, even decades later, we still have absolutely no idea why. Get ready to have your mind blown, because this is one mystery that will stick with you long after the video ends. Let's dig in. Our story takes us back to a place once known as Oak Haven, a thriving little community nestled deep in the mountains established in the late 1800s. It was a picturesque spot, rich in natural resources, primarily known for its burgeoning timber industry and a small but successful silver mine. Families flocked there, drawn by the promise of work and the beauty of the untouched wilderness. Picture a close-knit community, children playing in the streets, neighbors swapping stories over fences, a general store that served as the town's social hub, and the rhythmic sound of sawmills filling the crisp mountain air. By the early 1900s, Oakhaven was truly flourishing, a testament to human ingenuity and the pioneering spirit. It was everything you'd expect from a vibrant, growing American town. Life in Oakhaven was simple but good. Days were spent in the mines or felling trees, while evenings were for community gatherings, church socials, and quiet family time. The town had its own schoolhouse, a small medical clinic, and even a local newspaper that kept everyone abreast of regional news and local gossip. There were plans for expansion, talk of a new rail line connecting them to bigger cities, and an overall sense of optimism for the future. The population was steadily growing, and Oakhaven was truly on the map, a testament to its hardy residents. Then came that fateful night, October 17, 1923. It started like any other evening. The sun dipped below the rugged peaks, casting long shadows over the valley. Lights flickered on in homes, families gathered for dinner, and the usual nightly sounds of a small town began to settle. But something was different. A creeping, unsettling quiet started to descend. Witnesses from a nearby trapper's cabin, about 10 miles away, reported seeing an inexplicable flash of light in the direction of Oakhaven, followed by an immediate, profound darkness. They initially dismissed it as a localized power outage or a lightning strike, despite the clear skies. Little did they know, they had just witnessed the last moments of Oakhaven as they knew it. The very next morning, a supply wagon from a neighboring settlement, scheduled to deliver goods to Oakhaven, arrived at the town's entrance. What they found wasn't a bustling town ready for trade. Instead, an unnatural stillness hung in the air. The driver, a seasoned frontiersman named Elias Thorne, recounted his eerie discovery in later testimonials. He expected the usual morning greetings, the sounds of activity, but there was nothing. The town was utterly deserted. Doors were ajar, windows open, laundry still hanging on lines, and tables set for breakfast with half-eaten meals. It was as if everyone had just walked away mid-sentence. Elias and his companions cautiously entered the town. The general store's cash register was open, money still inside. The schoolhouse blackboard had lessons half-written. The mine entrance was abandoned, tools strewn about. Not a single person, nor a single animal, no dogs, no cats, no livestock, remained. The only living things they encountered were wild birds that had begun to reclaim the quiet streets. Every personal belonging was left behind. Clothes and wardrobes, family photos on mantelpieces, toys scattered in yards. It was a ghost town, not by gradual decay but by instantaneous desertion. The authorities were immediately notified, and what followed was an investigation that would mystify experts for decades. Initial investigations were exhaustive. Teams combed through every building, every inch of the surrounding wilderness. They searched for signs of a mass exodus, an attack, a natural disaster, anything that could explain such a complete disappearance. No bodies were ever found, no graves, no signs of struggle, no footprints leading away from the town, not even a note or a message left behind. It was as if the 200-plus residents of Oakhaven had simply evaporated into thin air. Every theory was explored, from the mundane to the truly bizarre. One of the first theories was a mass migration. Perhaps a new opportunity arose, a gold rush somewhere else, and everyone decided to leave overnight. But this theory quickly fell apart. How could an entire town pack up and leave without a single trace? No wagons, no packed bags, no farewells to neighboring settlements. And why leave everything behind, including valuable possessions? It simply didn't add up. There were no rumors of a new opportunity that could have inspired such a rapid, coordinated, and silent departure. Another theory suggested a devastating natural disaster, like a landslide or a flash flood. But the town itself remained physically intact. Houses stood, albeit empty, and the terrain showed no signs of such an event. The flash of light reported by the trappers was certainly unusual, but it didn't align with any known natural catastrophe that would leave buildings standing, but people gone. There was no widespread fire, no earthquake damage. The town was perfectly preserved, except for its inhabitants. Then came the more speculative ideas, ranging from sinister cult activity to government experiments. Some whispered about a mysterious illness that struck suddenly, causing everyone to flee or worse, to somehow dematerialize. But medical experts found no evidence of a rapid, fatal disease that wouldn't leave bodies, or at least some biological residue. The remoteness of Oakhaven made it an easy target for wild speculation, with stories of secret societies or even extraterrestrial involvement gaining traction in local folklore. One of the most persistent rumors centered around the town's silver mine. Some believed that the miners stumbled upon something ancient and terrible deep beneath the earth, something that either drove them away or consumed them. Tales circulated about a long-lost cavern, an old curse or a strange energy source that was accidentally unearthed. While the mine itself was thoroughly investigated, nothing out of the ordinary was ever found within its depths, just silver deposits, as expected. Yet, the imagery of something malevolent lurking below ground perfectly captured the public's imagination, fueling the mystery for decades. The official conclusion, for lack of any better explanation, was that the residents of Oakhaven simply vanished under unknown circumstances. The investigation eventually faded, the case grew cold, and Oakhaven became a forgotten footnote in history books, a haunting reminder of the inexplicable. The town itself slowly fell into disrepair, reclaimed by nature, its empty buildings standing as silent monuments to an enduring question. It's a truly chilling thought, an entire community erased from existence without a definitive answer. What do you think happened to the people of Oakhaven? Could it have been something as simple as a coordinated, yet utterly silent departure? Or was there something far more sinister at play? The human imagination tends to fill these voids with fantastic explanations, from the supernatural to the scientific breakthroughs yet to be discovered. This mystery challenges our understanding of reality and reminds us that sometimes, even with our best efforts, the truth can remain stubbornly out of reach. The story of Oakhaven serves as a powerful reminder of how fragile and fleeting existence can be, and how some historical events simply defy logical explanation. It's a ghost story without the ghosts, a crime without a culprit, and a disappearance without a trace. It continues to spark debate and wonder among historians and armchair detectives alike. And perhaps that's part of its enduring allure, the tantalizing possibility that there's still a piece of the puzzle out there waiting to be found. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into one of history's most profound puzzles. If this story captivated you, please hit that like button, share your theories in the comments below. I'd love to read them. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the unknown. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning everything.